Meet the new One Expert. Redesigned and improved to cater your needs. Developed by the Department of Science and Technology, One Expert is a one-stop portal for your S&T needs and requests. Search for an expert. With a database of S&T experts, One Expert allows you to search them by name, location, expertise, or affiliation. Apply for consultancy or training online. One Expert is your online link to DOST's consultancy and training programs related to manufacturing productivity, food safety, agriculture and aquaculture productivity, and energy management. Learn from a series of free webinars from the comfort of your home, brought to you by our lineup of experts. Expert O or Experts Online comes up with interesting and informative webinars exploring the field of science, technology, and innovation. Post your inquiries at One Expert Opportunities. Inquiries posted on this page are visible to all registered experts as well as DOST personnel nationwide. Get access to relevant science and technology-related materials and resources through DOST STII's publication bridge and its online library, Starbucks. Download our mobile applications now. One Expert PH, One Expert Lite, and most importantly, One Chat. This messaging platform aims to connect clients to experts and DOST staff with ease. To enjoy all these features, create your One Expert account now at www.oneexpert.gov.ph. Be part of this growing science and technology community. Meet the new One Expert. Redesigned and improved to cater your needs. Developed by the Department of Science and Technology, One Expert is a one-stop portal for your S&T needs and requests. Search for an expert. With a database of S&T experts, One Expert allows you to search them by name, location, expertise, or affiliation. Apply for consultancy or training online. One Expert is your online link to DOST's consultancy and training programs related to manufacturing productivity, food safety, agriculture and aquaculture productivity, and energy management. Learn from a series of free webinars from the comfort of your home, brought to you by our lineup of experts. Expert O or Experts Online comes up with interesting and informative webinars exploring the field of science, technology, and innovation. Post your inquiries at One Expert Opportunities. Inquiries posted on this page are visible to all registered experts as well as DOST personnel nationwide. Get access to relevant science and technology-related materials and resources through DOST STII's publication bridge and its online library, Starbucks. Download our mobile applications now. One Expert PH, One Expert Lite, and most importantly, One Chat. This messaging platform aims to connect clients to experts and DOST staff with ease. To enjoy all these features, create your One Expert account now at www.oneexpert.gov.ph. Be part of this growing science and technology community.
So
Meet the new One Expert. Redesigned and improved to cater your needs. Developed by the Department of Science and Technology, One Expert is a one-stop portal for your S&T needs and requests. Search for an expert. With a database of S&T experts, One Expert
may we remind everyone except for the speaker and moderator to be on listening mode by putting your microphone on mute. Refrain from making unnecessary sound or visual that may disrupt the presentation, and please do not press the present button. Thank you. I guess we are all set. Good morning everyone. Magandang umaga po sa lahat or maayong aga sa tanan. I welcome you again to the webinar series entitled Transformational Technologies for Sustainable Cities and Communities, Session 2, Smart Governance through Smart Technologies, brought to you by the Department of Science and Technology Regional Office 6 in partnership with the Advanced Science and Technology Institute. I am Julius Remar Gabiota of the Department of Science and Technology Region 6, providing S&T service in Western Visayas, and I am your moderator for today. Before we start, may we request Ms. Novelin Anfactuar of DOST 6 to lead the prayer.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you have made. We thank you, Lord, for the fruitful planning and preparation that took part among the organizers and facilitators that made this webinar activity possible. Today we ask for your divine presence, wisdom, and guidance. Help us all to successfully accomplish the goals set for this morning, and that by your grace we can develop more activities alike. We declare your blessings towards our speakers as well as our participants. We pray that this activity may invoke learning to all and most importantly serve as an avenue where locally developed technologies can be put into great use, especially by our local government units and small and medium enterprises. Lastly, we just want to pray all together for your healing hands to be upon our kababayans hit by COVID-19. And we pray that everyone joining us today continue to be in good health. Heal us, Lord, and heal our land. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Novi. To start, let us hear an opening message from Dr. Emeline P. Flores, DOST6 Assistant Regional Director for Technical Operations. Ma'am?
I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Julius. In behalf of our Regional Director, Engineer Rowen Helonga, I'm tasked to give the opening remarks. This is our new normal. Faced with the challenges of our internet connection, we normally do our virtual meetings, virtual webinars, lahat, virtual. And thank you for our participants from the local government units, from state universities and colleges, or if the academe, if we have private sectors, private schools here, our disaster risk reduction management officers particularly. And of course, I don't know if we have our Kapamilya and Kapuso from those Visayas cluster, regions 7 and 8, and other DOST regional offices. And most of all, I would like to thank our experts from DOST, Advanced Science and Technology Institute. We have Mr. Elson Crisologo Jr., Rother J. Copino, Engineer Roel de la Cruz, Miss Hasmin Jane Yabut, Miss Camille Larios, and Miss Maria Irene Amatorio. Full force ang ASTI. They will give us the new technologies developed by the DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute. And hopefully we have some prospective technology adapters here so we can have designing virtually of our uh, technology licensing agreement for the technology transfer process. And of course, we have interesting topics to be brought by our experts from ASTI, the Smart Technologies to Disaster Risk Reduction Management, and the technologies for smart governance. We are also be hearing on the latest technologies brought about by our satellite facilities, and of course for the state of the art with the monitoring equipment, specifically the automatic weather station or automatic rain gates. This can also help us with a Sorite project developed by our friends from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So what do we expect from this seminar? Anyway, this is brought to you by the OST1 expert team, and the One Expert program is headed by, this is a nationwide program headed by our regional director, Engineer Rowan Hilonga. This is implemented nationwide, and the project ended already, but we are still continuing the implementation of this project for One Expert. We have consultancy services available for our micro, small, and medium enterprises, and we are looking for for experts to be accredited. So you can send your curriculum vitae to us so we can accredit you for the consultancy services that we are offering. And we are going to set up 4.0. We are in transition now we are implementing the setup 2.0, and we will be implementing setup 4.0. So attention for those experts in terms of manufacturing productivity, cleaning production, energy audit, food safety, and other productivity consultancy program. So I hope that you will have a fruitful webinar today. May you lend your ears and eyes to our speakers. We have important speakers from the OST ASTI. So please make use of your time, because some of these technologies also are my first time to encounter these technologies. So thank you very much and have a fruitful day. Thank you, Julius.
Thank you very much, Dr. Flores. At this point, we would like to acknowledge our Google Meet participants as well as our viewers through YouTube and the One Expert portal to all participating micro, small, and medium enterprises from different provinces in Western Visayas and other regions, state universities and colleges, DOST personnel, our colleagues, from different regions and interested stakeholders from the different LGUs in Western Visayas, our friends from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Region 6, Department of Agriculture, Region 6, Office of Civil Defense, Region 6, and our partners from Advanced Science and Technology Institute. Thanks to everyone for positively responding to our invitation. This webinar is an initiative of DOST6 to help sustain cities and communities through technologies, specifically the technologies for smart governance, and to showcase technologies developed by the researchers from DOST-ASTI. These technologies will provide core solutions to different problems encountered in our communities. This activity is also in line with the celebration of National Cleanup Week, as in celebration of World Clean and Green Week as declared by Proclamation number 244, signed by President Fidel Ramos in 1993. It has been a long-standing goal of the United Nations to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. With this, it is important to learn and utilize technologies that can help in achieving this goal. However, the onset of COVID-19 pandemic and enhanced quarantine measures has resulted to economic recession and was experienced globally. In Region 6, every business, establishments, and individuals struggle for health as well as economic survival. The Filipino spirit of resiliency in times of adversity like this leads us to explore various sources of income, such as selling food products to neighbors and the community as well. With this foregoing, the Department of Science and Technology Region 6 initiated series of webinars, this time with focus on sustainable cities and communities. Yesterday, we were done conducting the session 1 of this webinar series, and today, technologies from DOST ASTI will definitely help improve the industry and economic status of the community as well. DOST's initiative on webinar aims to bring science and technology practitioners closer to our customers and help them recover and sustain their cities and communities. Before we begin, we just have few reminders for all. For maximum webinar experience, we would like to remind everyone of our webinar house rules. Except for the speaker and moderator, be on listen-in mode by putting your microphone on mute. Refrain from making unnecessary sound or visual that may disrupt the presentation. Reserve your questions during the open forum. Participants attending via Google Meet may ask their questions directly to the speaker after they have been recognized by the moderator. Those attending via OneExpert may send their questions through the webinar chat window by ticking the Submit as a Question box and hitting Send. Please use the following format when asking questions: name of your institution, your question, name of the expert to whom you address the question. To get a certificate, complete the evaluation form after the webinar. The link to the form will be provided during the latter part of this webinar. We will now proceed with the presentation of technologies. Our first speaker is no other than Mr. Elson M. Crisologo, Jr. Mr. Crisologo is a software programmer with 7 years of work experience guiding developer teams, including coding, testing, and integration. He handles various projects like payroll system, ERP, e-commerce, content review sites, and government information systems. He is currently designated as SRS-1 at the DOST ASTI. Ladies and gentlemen, we give the floor to Mr. Elson M. Crisologo, Jr.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Edgar Solugo Jr., one of the researchers from UST ASCII under the Computer Software Division. I will present our research project called PUHA. To start the presentation, here are the problems that we want to address. First, insufficient data. Currently, konti lang yung mga generated content or data created from Internet of Things, source of Things data. Usually, data na ito ay generated from the sensors that are connected to electronic devices. Second problem, using gadgets and electronics. Pag deploy ng mga sensors, ng mga gadgets ito ay costing na siya and to implement for some factors like maintenance, security, etc. And the third one is yung lack of available system or infrastructure. Like yung pag-store or processing ng data ay expensive. The goal is to build a societally relevant and societally responsible social sensing network and to enable and empower the general public to contribute data to the scientific community through crowdsourcing. With the use of Kuha, we can create our own niche to generate big data that can be used by researchers and data scientists in the country. Kung curious kayo bakit Kuha yung pangalan ng app, actually it's a wordplay of the Tagalog word Kuha or actually in English, and yung aming logo illustrated by an image of an owl which represents wisdom or knowledge. Makikita natin na may aperture or camera lens left eye. This is Kuha is a camera application. So what is Kuha? Kuha is a social sensing network application. Pero first, ano ba yung social sensing application na ito? Social sensing application is a paradigm of sensing and data collection from humans or devices on their behalf and share the data, make this data available to public for further study. Isang halimbawa nga ng social sensing application ay yung Waze. Saan kinokollect nito yung location para matrack yung mga vehicular traffic, and also it suggests fastest route. Imagine si Waze, isang sensor lang or isang sensor lang yung kinokollect niya, pero napakalaking tulong na sa tao. So what more if we are able to collect more sensor data? So this is the high-level architecture ng Kuha app. Kuha app is the sensor data available sa ating smartphone, and also pwede rin siyang connect ng mga or ng external device by using the Bluetooth technology. Si Kuha app, upon capturing ng photo, lahat ng mga available na sensor sa ating smartphone will collect data, and then it will embed image. No? Isulat na dun sa exchangeable image format on the and then will aid dun sa ating server via a research network, and then it will be available via API gateway or yung mga web services natin. So there is the value proposition. The first thing, citizen science. This will promote public participation in scientific research and enables mga participants to make a direct contribution to research, increase yung scientific understanding, and immerse themselves deeply afield in learning about environmental issues. These opportunities provide personally transformative experiences. The second value proposition natin is societally relevant and societally responsible social network. This will provide two-way access to the collective stream of knowledge by empowering the general public to engage as a source of useful data. And then the third one is in big data generation. This will provide a medium for data scientists, researchers, and citizen scientists to make use of big data generated by Kuha. So this is what you can do with Kuha, the data exchange. Kuha makes easy access to the data and facilitates easy interaction. And yung pangalawa po, yung public service, with the help of Kuha, yung information na nagagather niya ay nakitulong sa mga sectors to raise data for research purposes. Ano ba itong mga sector na to? Tulad ng transportation, telecommunication companies, sectors, researchers and data analysts, policymakers, and environmental and health sectors. So, paano nga ba ito nila magagamit? Example po yung sa telco. Since we are collecting also yung mga network signal upon capturing ng user, using yung Kuha app, pwede nila makita dun sa map kung saan meron yung mga mahihinang signal. So, the telco could make a plan kung saan nila ilalagay o ipapwesto yung kanilang mga towers. And for another example po, sa business sectors. So, on using yung Kuha app, there's a certain area na madaming nag-take ng pictures doon. So, they could check that area and malaman pala nila na potential to na bagong tourist spot. So, yung mga business sector natin, they could put a resto or hotel. At ito yung makakapag-generate ng trabaho. And then the third is photography. Kuha could change the people to photos, not just by capturing picture perfect, but also by contributing to the scientific community. So this is the 4 simple steps, no, kung paano gamitin yung ating Kuha application. First step is yung captures, kung saan nag-present na dito yung data, and then in-embed ko sa unit natin. And then the second step is yung enhance, kung saan dito display yung mga selected sensors with the image using a template. And then the third is yung share. Ito yung paraan kung saan magko-contribute na sa Kuha community. And then the fourth step is explore, kung saan mga contributions will be flat in a map where users can explore and visualize all contributions shared by Kuha community. Ito naman yung one of the core features ng ating mobile application, yung pagka-capture. And this is also solve the problem regarding din sa building ng mga sensor devices or mga gadgets natin. Since we're using yung mga mobile sensors na available sa ating smartphone, dahil meron na itong location, temperature, sound, signal, humidity, and luminance. So doon, solve natin yung problem doon. And the second is yung share to community. This is also answering problem regarding to insufficient data. Since this app is crowdsourcing application, to mga users, pag nagko-contribute sila, so they're able to generate data. And this one, yung explore and generation insights. Contribution will be stored in an HPC facility in USD ASCII. So ito will answer yung problem regarding to sa facility. And also, pwede din makapag-filter ng data, specific data na kailangan for research. Dito sa ating isang feature ng Kuha app. And the last feature ng ating application is yung plug and send. So if you have external sensor device, pwede natin ito makonect sa ating Kuha application para makapag-collect pa ng madaming sensor and accurate. So here are the actual screenshot ng ating Kuha application. Currently, ongoing pa din po yung development niya. So yung first screen natin is yung ating landing page. Dito, in-encourage yung mga user na basahin yung terms of use, privacy policy, bago sila makapag-register. And then the second screenshot ay yung list of contribution. Basically, this is the profile ng ating user. show lang dito, display yung mga contributed natin na image. And yung mga na-like natin or yung stars natin na mga na-share din na other Kuha user. And then the third screenshot, yung isang example, giving a details of an contributed data, no? Nakita natin dyan yung mga notes, tags na nilagay ng ating user, and also yung mga na-send na data na naka-display din dyan. And for screenshot, ito yung view ng mga lahat ng contribution na when plotted sa map para ma-explore natin yung mga contribution sa iba't ibang lugar. And also, check sa map. And also, you can view yung categorized na mga users, enthusiasts or students or researchers. And the last screenshot, this is the Kuha P, kung saan lahat ng mga contribution ng lahat ng mga user app, ang user ng Kuha ay madi-display dito. And this is the web application naman, software part of it. Meron din siyang map saan naka-plot din yung mga contributed data natin. And then, yung summary ng ating contribution, sensor data, contributors. So, sa sensors, pwede mo rin mag-view lahat ng mga images kung saan merong pressure data, luminance. And then, sa contributors naman, pwede kang makapag-select ng profile doon. And then, makita mo ano yung interest ng isang user. So, possible din na magkaroon kayo ng collab, ever na nakita mo na same kayo ng interest. So, pwede kang contact for research collaboration, and then gagamitin natin yung Kuha app. And then, here we also can filter yung mga data, external and external devices data, location, date, and other relevant metadata. API calls to access the data will be available at request to the agency. So here are the potential users of Kuha app: students, researchers, enthusiasts, or citizen scientists. And for the potential customers, yung ating transportation and telecommunication companies, business sectors, researchers, and data analysts, policymakers, environmental and health sectors, and academic. So, yung logo sa Kuha team, our project management, our division chief, Joanna, si Hugo, and our project managers, Vanessa, Shana, and our team leader, Oxan, Benante, and the development team, our business analyst, Michelle Derrida, and our mobile and web developer, Peter J. Copino, and Kevin Abonita, also our UI and UX guys, and IT, Nicole Robe, Art, Iran, and our software testers, and our front-end web developer project. So, pwede nyo yung makontak sa may kita sa screen, and you can check yung aming Facebook app and yung aming website. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Crisologo. Let us now proceed with our next speaker, who is no other than Mr. Rother J. B. Copino. Mr. Copino is currently working as a senior software engineer and science researcher at the Department of Science and Technology, Advanced Science and Technology Institute. He held technical leadership and hands-on tasks for the system administration and development team, to the software engineering projects under the external partners, namely Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council, Department of Energy, and Mobile Application and Internet of Things related internal research and development projects under DOST-ASTI. He is also an ongoing postgraduate study under University of the Philippines Master of Engineering in Electrical Engineering focusing on computer network security and IoT. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give the floor to Mr. Rother J. B. Copino.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ruther J. B. Cupino, Science Research Specialist 1 of DOST-ASTI, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for being here in this webinar series, and also DOST Region 6 for the invitation. Given the chance to share with you, in behalf of our team, some of our research works under DOST-ASTI and Computer Software Division, I hope that all of you are doing well and in good condition during this COVID-19 pandemic. Let me share with you Gulay Project, an AI and IoT-assisted phenotyping platform. To start with, the Philippines as a nation has 9.671 million hectares of total agricultural land area, out of which 4.936 million hectares is arable. With such vast land area available for cultivation and production of export quality agricultural products, the Philippines is in a good position to be a key player in the agricultural sector within the region and overseas. However, interest in jobs relating to agriculture has undergone a decline over the years. From 2010 to 2012, the share of agriculture in total employment in the country has experienced a drop to 32%. There is growing lack of interest in the youth in pursuing crop farming related jobs, and the current generation of farmers are now aging. The promise of high-paying office jobs in the metro strongly entices the youth to leave the countryside, leaving behind a generation of aging farmer relatives. This phenomenon can be seen as a transition of the Philippines from traditional agriculture-based economy to now an information age economy. Another factor that affects the growth of agricultural sector in the country is the climatic conditions that farmlands are exposed to whole year round. For almost half of the year, crops are exposed to extreme heat during the summer season. For the other half of the year, crops are exposed to heavy rains, which are most of the time accompanied by strong winds during the rainy season. The Philippines experiences at least 20 tropical cyclones every year that causes damage to crop and infrastructure. These damages amounts to billions of pesos both in agriculture and infrastructure. These factors, decline of interest of the youth in agriculture, and vulnerability of farmlands to damage due to local weather conditions contributes to the continuous decline of agriculture in the Philippines. This problem poses a threat to the food security of the country. Currently, there are only few initiatives from both the public and the private sector, which focus on the fusion of farming and information and communication technology or ICT. The project is Smart Plant Production in Controlled Environments, or rather known as SPICE of DOST, UP Diliman, and UP Los Baños, focus on the conservation of indigenous and endemic plants in the Philippines. Local state universities' efforts on this area are more focused on the alternative modes of growing crops, like hydroponics and aquaponics. Nowadays, it is uncommon for digital device to be connected to remote cloud services that provides functionalities that are otherwise not possible to perform on the device itself or would be resource extensive. Such devices are commonly referred to as edge devices, which serves as sensing devices for remote applications that utilize data in producing services. This ecosystem of devices and cloud-based remote services make up the Internet of Things, or IoT. And it seems this will be the trend for the upcoming decades in ICT. Simple definition of IoT is that it allows multiple things or objects to be connected to the internet and allow exchange of data. In this age of AI, collected data from edge devices are fed to machine learning algorithms that determine patterns among many variables and encapsulate these patterns into data models. These data models can be used for various analytics purposes, such as predicting values of certain variables given yet unseen observation data. The machine behaves according to the corresponding profile of new input data. There is much interest among the youth towards IoT and AI these days, probably due to the heavy proliferation of these topics on mainstream media through Hollywood sci-fi movies and online media sites such as YouTube. Access to mobile devices and the internet among the youth is also continuously growing. The youth gravitates towards what is high-tech and in turn puts aside some areas of studies associated with being low-tech like farming. So with this, the project aims to promote the fusion of farming and ICT among the youth through the implementation of an indoor microscale plant growing system. The objective of the Gulay projects are the following. First is to construct prototypes of the plant growing module, which is to develop an indoor microscale plant growing system with controlled environment. The plant growing module of the system will be fitted with basic environment sensors to gather data about the plants. An onboard computer box will perform the periodic measurements of values of the environmental parameters. Second objective is to develop an online information management system for managing data generated from the platform. The collected data from the growing box will be forwarded to the remote servers for storage and processing. Data will be generated from the plant growing module will be used to train machine learning models that can be used to predict certain aspects of plants. Example, growth rate based on specific environmental parameter values. Third is to develop a mobile application for remote monitoring of the platform status. I think every one of us has our own mobile phone or smartphone. With this mobile application, we will be able to remotely create, run, and modify experiments, and also monitor and take control of the plant growing module through online, even if we are in a different location. Fourth is to conduct validation activities with partners. During our problem verification and validation stage, we have reached out to several SUCs like UP Diliman, UP Los Baños, and Nueva Ecija, University of Science and Technology, or NEUST. We have conducted series of meetings to validate our problem statement and found the significance and benefit of Gulay project development to further improve their domain and help them in conduct of their research activities. The initial target beneficiaries are research institute, SUCs, high school, and science laboratories that would want to conduct research and experiments on plants in a controlled environment. To give you a brief understanding on the Gulay system, let's take a look at the high-level architecture of the Gulay project. As we can see on the slide, Gulay system comprises of the following. Gulay backend system. This will mainly be the remote services or application program interface that is available online that will handle the exchange of data between the mobile application, experiment unit platform, or plant box, and the web application. The second component would be the mobile application platform for monitoring the experiment unit platform. In here, we will be able to remotely create, run, modify experiments, and also monitor and take control of the plant growing module through online. As I've mentioned, even if we are in a different location, given the privilege to access the Gulay system. The third component would be the experiment unit platform or the plant box itself. The fourth component would be the web application. This will be a web-based application portal that is available online that will provide capability to the researchers or end users of the system to be able to manage, create, and view experiment, and also perform data processing tasks and generate results. For the initial key players, we have identified two actors in the system, the admin and the researcher. The admin, since this will be an IoT-assisted project, multiple devices with multiple sensors will be in the system. Thus, this will require someone who will manage or take control of the resources available in a certain facility or laboratory where experiment unit platform or the plant box are deployed under an organization. The second actor would be the researcher. It can be a student, senior, college, or graduate student, domain experts in the fields of crop science, can be hobbyists or enthusiasts who wants to conduct experiments on plants. Researchers can run, modify, experiment deployed in a plant box remotely through the mobile application and manage the experiment data and result through the web application. Now, let's dive deeper into a more detailed architecture of the Gulay system. As we can see in the diagram, there are four main components. The general flow of the Gulay system is that the experiment platform unit or the plant growing module will be remotely controlled via the experiment platform unit monitoring component, which comprises of mobile application or a web application. The data generated from the experiment platform unit will be sent to the back-end services, which comprises of API services available online, deployed in servers, and hosted in a high-performance computing facility. So contributed data from the EPU will be permanently stored and processed in the data servers. The data can be viewed and managed and be further processed through the web application component. Let's go through the component one by one. Platform Unit Monitoring Component. The EPU Platform Monitoring Component comprises of control and monitoring application features wherein you can register, connect, and manage your multiple EPU or plant boxes. You can create and run and manage experiments. You can also set the value of the growing parameters that is specific to the plant that will be grown inside the box. Remotely, you can also monitor the performance of an individual EPU by accessing through the application dashboard. All the data gathered will synchronously send to the Gulay backend services. Also, viewing of logs of previous and ongoing experiments is enabled through the system. Log is a core of an experiment. A log file can contain an important data of activities conducted under an experiment. This will be your primary source of documentation and result. So keeping a systematic data of experiment is a key factor to obtain an accurate experiment result. As you can see, this is the prototype of the mobile application for the Gulay system. As you can see on the first image, through the mobile application, you may be able to register or add an EPU or plant box. On the second image, if you have multiple boxes running multiple experiments one at a time, you have the capability to manage each of the plant boxes available to you through the Manage Box feature of the mobile app. On the third image, you will be able to see your list of ongoing and past experiments and also preview the details of each experiment. On the image 5, you may also take control of some actions inside the plant box, like changing the light color that is needed by the plant in your experiment. The next component would be the experiment platform unit component or the plant box. This is the plant box or the hardware component of the Gulay project. The scale of this system will be small enough that one can fit it into a normal-sized backyard or indoor space in an urban setting. The plant growing module of the system will be fitted with basic environment sensors to gather data about the plants. It is an enclosed, remotely controlled environment for growing plants with specific environmental factors that needs to be set. Some of the environmental factors observed are relative humidity, temperature, lighting conditions, like color, intensity, photo period, and luminance. Nutrients in growing medium is also monitored. Carbon dioxide, water level, pH level, and electronic conductivity. The EPU or the plant box is manageable via the mobile application. And also, it periodically logs observation data in local and remote storage. The next component would be the backend services and web application component. Backend services are the servers specific for processing and storing the data coming from the EPU or the plant boxes, while the online web application will be your portal to access the Gulay backend system and the data through the web. Few initial features of the web application components are the following. First is the experiment management and viewer. Through the data synced from the mobile application and the EPU or the plant box, you may be able to create and view results of experiments conducted on the platform. The second feature would be the analytics platform. You will be able to perform exploratory data analysis and multivariate data analysis on the generated experiment datasets from the platform. So through the data generated and processed, we may be able to create a plant growth model which can help the agriculture sector in the proper or optimal way of growing plants. In developing this kind of research project, several domain and skills are needed since it is a fusion of agriculture and ICT. Citing some of those domain skills presented in the slides, for us a team for over years of expertise and the mandate of the Institute, which is in microelectronic, technology transfer, and space technology, in proposing project like Gulay, which involved the agriculture domain, we have partnered and validated our problem statement to the domain experts in crop science, plant breeding, and SUCs like Nueva Ecija, University of Science and Technology or NEUST, UP Diliman, and UP Los Baños Crop Science and Plant Breeding College. For crop science and plant breeding, crop scientists and plant breeders undertake scientific research and work to increase the yield of field crops by improving farming methods and plant breeding techniques and developing new plant strains. Also to give highlight that under the K-12 system education of the Philippines, which create changes in the way high school students are trained not only for educational advancement, but also for possible career or employment. By introducing technology like Internet of Things and ICT will help the students decide whether on what strand they will be taking. For someone who will interest with research on ICT and microelectronics, it will fall on STEM or the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics strand. If the students are interested in building prototypes and robots, crunching numbers, analyzing the ways of life, and the interest in the latest software development tools and system engineering, which are the key skills in developing this kind of project, then STEM strand is fit for them. Gulay is currently in the development stage of the prototype and the software applications, and is targeted to be deployed to the partners by next year. So that ends my talk. Thank you all for being here today and taking time to patiently listen to what I had to say. For questions, you may email me at my email address flash at your screen, and I wish you all a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Copino. Let us now proceed with our next speaker, who is no other than Engineer Roel M. De La Cruz. He is an experienced GIS trainer, GIS software developer and science researcher experienced in planning and managing GIS mapping projects of large geographic scope. Currently, he is designated as Senior Science Research Specialist at DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute, Research and Development Division. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give the floor to Engineer Ruel M. De La Cruz. Sir?
Hello, good morning everyone. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I hope nakikita nyo na yung screen ko. I will be discussing about our AI and satellite images for DRR in agriculture, or sorry, this should have been AI for mapping. First, in DOST, I would like to discuss first our SNT facilities that enabled us to do what I'm going to discuss today. So first, we have the PREGINET. Actually, yun yung internet connection natin. Siya yung research and government network. Kung nakakabit kayo dyan, I'm sure you have a very fast internet connection. It powers yung connectivity between the Pedro Center, our Earth Observation Center. Nandyan yung ground receiving station natin that receives satellite imageries and sends commands dun sa ating mga satellites and other satellites na meron tayong subscription. And there's this core, Computing and Archiving Research Environment. Nandyan po yung ating HPC, High Performance Computing Facility. Actually, they offer Science Cloud. It's cloud computing, pero it's for science, kaya siya tinawag na Science Cloud. And for academic and government, let's say R&D purposes, they can offer you cloud services, actually including storage and computing. And the Datos project, it was a DOST-funded project, ended in February this year, 2020, to produce those maps from the Pedro Center using the facilities of CORE and through the connectivity provided by PREGINET. Aside from that, we also have friends from Stamina for Space, if you've heard of them. So sila po yung gumagawa at nagme-maintain, sila yung gumagawa, nagre-research ng mga applications ng mga sarili nating satellites. So by now, I hope you realize na I'm talking about space. So why do we go to space? Why is a country like the Philippines going to space? By the way, we have a new agency, the Philippine Space Agency. Na-establish lang siya last year, kaka 1 year niya lang, and you may also want to look at them kung interested kayo. We want to go to space because of data. Okay? Data that enables scientific discovery para maintindihan natin yung surroundings natin, hindi tayo nanghuhula, di ba? And data that enables evidence-based policies. So if we're going to have plans or mag-set tayo ng mga rules, etc., we must have the data, the actual data. So that's why we're going to the space. Next is para magkaroon tayo ng knowledge-based economy for inclusive innovation, okay, walang iwanan, and to answer, okay, information poverty. Okay, so we always ask questions. Okay? We need data set to answer those questions. So before that, here is the challenge. Okay, so since we live in the country na puro ulan, lindol, volcano, etc., we're disaster prone. Okay, so yung challenge is tuwing may disaster response, and if you do monitoring ng kahit na ano across the country, monitor ka ng crops, mag-monitor ka ng landslide areas, mag-monitor ka ng watersheds, etc., environmental monitoring, you need rapid map generation. You cannot rely with old maps. Actually, wala tayong updated maps actually. Tapos kailangan natin mabilis na production ng mapa. And one answer to that is satellite imagery. Okay, there are 1/3 ng lahat ng satellites na meron ngayon ay kumukuha ng information sa surface ng Earth. Okay? So there are other satellites, meteorological satellites, communication satellite, GPS, etc., spy satellites. Tapos marami sa kanila ay nakatingin sa mundo. They're looking at the atmosphere, they're looking at the oceans, they're looking at temperatures ng mundo. Yung iba, high resolution yung tinitingnan dun sa ground. So, imagine yung Google Earth, di ba? You can zoom in at makikita mo kung asan yung bahay mo at very high resolution. Those are products of satellite na nag-orbit around the Earth. So, there's so many of them actually. Sa NASA alone, they have 9 petabytes ng data. Okay? So, and dito naman sa atin sa Pilipinas, we also have that much, hindi naman 9 petabytes, pero we also have terabytes of data sets na available. For example, yung Pedro Center na diniscuss ko kanina, yung ground receiving station natin, they have already 13 terabytes ng data. Okay? Yun yung galing sa subscription natin. So, nung makikita nyo yung nasa slides ko, yan ay mga boundaries ng mga satellite imageries from planet, 3-meter resolution yan, puno na yung buong Pilipinas. And ang maganda dyan sa satellite na yan, yung exactly na pinapakita dyan, is daily, merong 2 image anywhere in the country. Wag lang maulap, of course. So, you can monitor anything daily kung hindi siya natatakpan ng ulap. Aside from that, you already have 35 terabytes ng ESA data, okay, na yung free na in-store ng Datos Project. And it's free for everyone. Kung gusto nyo humingi and you have access to the core facility, naka-public na yung folder namin, you can get them all. Landsat, Sentinel images. So, nandun sila lahat. We made it so para hindi nyo na kailangang i-download every time sa servers ng ESA yung mga satellite imageries if you need them. Right. So, given those terabytes and petabytes of satellite imagery, wala pa rin tayong maps for inventory. For example, paborito namin yung coconuts. It's very easy to detect coconut from satellite imagery, actually. Okay? Pero, if you do traditional mapping, okay, it's expensive, highly technical, and labor-intensive. That's why our solution is yung medyo sikat na sikat sa panahon ngayon, using data science and artificial intelligence. Okay? Data science, artificial intelligence, they are very big fields. Okay, so the data science part is the analysis part. So if you use that, you need of course dapat meron kang big data. And usually yung mga data scientists gumagamit ng mga artificial intelligence. Okay, yung artificial intelligence alone is a big field. Kasama dun yung machine learning, kasama dun yung mga neural network, kasama dun yung mga deep neural networks and deep learning na tinatawag. Okay. So, merong interrelationship yung tatlo na yan. We can consider those storage of satellite data as big data. Meron tayong temporal data, terabytes of them. We need data scientists to analyze them. And these are the tools that we can use para mag-extract ng information sa kanya. Okay, in order to do what I'm going to show you, you need this team. Okay? Walang guy who can do everything. Okay? No man is an island. So, lahat kailangan mag-cooperate to do this kind of things. So we need our developers, our programmers para sa sila yung mag-code, sila yung mag-AI, etc. And we need yung remote sensing experts natin to do the image interpretation. Okay, your satellite imagery is not your typical image, not your typical picture. Okay? Hindi siya yung picture na kinunan mo ng camera mo, kinunan mo ng SLR, etc. Maraming processing na ginagawa sa remote sensing, especially kung ang goal mo is mapping. Okay? Different satellite imagery, different sensor, different characteristic ng object. Yung remote sensing people natin yung nakakaalam how to interpret them and how to extract information from them para ma-produce yung gusto nating mangyari. And of course, we need the GIS people to do the mapping. But don't worry, you don't have to be the best programmer, the best remote sensing, and the best GIS expert. Okay? A little bit of knowledge is enough, as you can see later sa end ng aking presentation. Okay. So ito yung mga technologies na develop na and how to make them. Skip ko na itong slide na to. These are the data sources that's being used by the Datos Project. From this type of satellite image sa left, ginagawa natin na tulad nung nandun sa right. Nung nandun sa taas, that's a false color imagery ng landslide area. Nung nandun sa lower right, yan naman ay AI detected built-up area sa Apari, Cagayan. Okay? So we summarize our processes into two. Okay? Using Earth observation data or satellite imagery, we use object detection, time series analysis, para ma-produce yung mga analysis na gusto natin or yung mga maps na gusto nating ma-produce. Yung lahat ng processing namin ay tumatakbo sa HPC, High Performance Computing Facility ng ASTI core facility ng ASTI. Okay? Then, let's go to the object detection. Actually, this object detection, dalawa na to eh. Object detection and segmentation. Okay? So, sa object detection, we're using artificial neural network, actually, deep neural network. So, we are trying to emulate yung brain. Ngayon, I would like to ask kung paano nyo natutunan na ito ay picture ng isang pusa. Okay? Diba? Titingnan mo siya, alam kong pusa yan. Why? Bakit? Bakit mo alam na pusa yan? Okay? So imagine yung neural network natin, yung neural network brain or sa ang tinatawag siyang model, gusto natin siya na matuto na makadetect ng pusa. So what we do, or nung bata tayo, ang ginawa ng mga magulang natin or ng mga teachers natin ay pinakitayan tayo ng sobrang daming picture ng pusa. Until matutunan natin na, okay, this is cat, this is dog, etc. So ganun yung konsepto. So para maturuan natin yung AI na mag-detect ng bagay na gusto nating i-detect niya, kailangan natin siyang bigyan ng napakaraming sample ng object na yon para matutunan niya na ganun yung itsura na hinahanap niya. Okay? So para siyang isang empty brain ng isang bata na tinuturuan mo kung paano mag-determine ng hayop. Di ba? Usually, may mga books na silhouette lang yung laman. Okay? Parang ganun. Okay? So what we're trying to do here is we are replicating kung paano nag-work yung mga neurons natin. Okay? So meron tayong input signal. For example, nakita ng mata natin na merong ganito. So merong series of neurons na mag-fire and then sa dulo nun ay i-interpret ng utak natin na ito ay aso or ito ay pusa. Okay? Of course, it's very complex. Okay, mahaba siya. Hindi natin kaya replicate yung brain. Malayo pa tayo doon. We never been even scratch the surface ng brain ng human being. Anyway, so nilalatag natin siya na ganito. Ito yung tinatawag na MLP, Multilevel Perceptron Model. So, nilalatag natin ng ganito. So, imagine yung mga bawat bilog na yan ay isang neuron, for example, na pinaglalagyan natin ng mga pixel ng images natin. Tapos, habang tinetrain natin yung image natin, merong mga connections kang nakikita. So, hanggang ma-produce yung output na yon. Okay? So, kapag nakakita siya ng picture ng pusa, for example, dito sa pinakataas, merong series of lines dyan na magla-light up papunta doon sa bilog doon sa kanan na nagre-represent ng pusa. Pag aso naman, meron ding series of lines dyan and neurons na mag-light up para ma-produce yung aso. So, ganun yun. Sorry. So, it's purely mathematical. So, you don't have to do that. Of course, kailangan may adjust yung weight, etc. Para dyan. Okay? Para ma-produce mo yun. Kasi magkakamali siya sa una, so syempre babalikan mo yun. It's the concept of back propagation na tinatawag. So hanggang matutunan niya na okay, adjust ko tong weight nito, adjust ko to para ma-produce na, para mahilot siya na dapat ito yung maging output niya. So ganun yun yung simplified version nung concept na ito. Okay? Okay. So, yung processing na ginagawa, of course, we do data processing. Doon pumapasok yung ating mga remote sensing people. Sila yung gumagawa ng mga radiometric correction, yung mga atmospheric correction, kasi nasa labas ng mundo yung satellite. So, naapektuhan ng atmosphere ng mga ions, yung image. Okay, so kino-correct nila lahat yon, kina-calibrate nila yon. Siyempre, may mga distortions pa yan. So, inaayos nila lahat yon bago i-process yung data. After that, gagawa na sila ng mga training data, di ba? Kasi gusto natin halimbawa, gusto natin mag-detect ng mangga, kailangan natin gumawa ng maraming example ng mangga para i-feed dun sa neural network natin para matutunan niya na yun yung itsura ng mangga. So, ito yung mahirap na part, itong first two steps. Okay? Yung third step, yung training itself, madali na lang siya actually. If you have some background in math, pwede mo nang paglaruan yung mga ano dyan. And then, of course, sa dulo, kailangan nating magkaroon ng validation para alam natin kung gaano ka-accurate yung detection natin pagdating sa ground. Okay? So far, ito yung mga produce na AI models while doing prototypes during the implementation of the Datos project. Bawat klase ng satellite image merong na-produce. Okay? So I might be a little outdated now kasi this is so few months ago, so hindi na ito ganyan ngayon. So yung VHR, ang ibig sabihin niyan ay very high resolution images. That's 0.3 meter resolution. 0.3 pixels yung laman, yung bawat pixel ng image ay 0.3 yung katumbas sa ground, 0.3 meters. Okay? So dyan, nakikita mo na yung mga detalye, even cars, kaya mo nang makita sa satellite image na yan. So kaya mong tumingin ng individual objects like mangoes, coconuts, some types of trees, buildings, damaged buildings, etc. Ito namang nandito sa pangalawa, this is a planet image, 3-meter resolution. Actually, planet is the name of the company. Okay? Na merong constellation ng satellite imaging. So, since this is 3 meter, ibig sabihin, yung isang pixel ng image mo na yan ay 3 meters yung katumbas sa ground, okay? Yung pixel, di ba, pag nag-zoom in kayo ng sobra-sobra sa isang image, nagba-box-box na siya. So, yung isang box na yun, yung tinatawag na pixel. So, kung i-measure mo yun, ang isang pixel na yun, 0.3 meter yun sa ground. So, mas generic na yung nakikita mo dito. You cannot see individual objects na, like trees. Hindi na. Kasi 3 meter, isang pixel pa lang eh. So, ilang pixel ba yung, ilang metro ba yung isang malaking puno? Halimbawa, sabihin natin na 3, 4 meters. So, isang pixel or 2 pixels na lang siya. So, mahirap na siyang i-identify sa satellite image na ganyan. Unless magkumpulan sila, that's why yung mga AI models na nandiyan ay mas generic, like built-up areas, water bodies, vegetation, bare soil, etc. Okay? Dito naman sa pangatlo, this is a Landsat image, 30 meters. So again, 30 meters sa ground yung isang pixel niya. So mas general pa yung nakikita natin ng mga bagay. Built-up areas ulit, water bodies, vegetation. So practically land cover. Yung nandun naman sa kanan, this is a radar. So iba siya. Hindi siya kumukuha ng picture actually. Kasi itong first 3 types na pinakita ko, may camera silang dala, yung mga satellites, tapos kung ano yung nililiwanagan ng araw, tapos parang magre-reflect sa ground, tapos yun yung babasahin ng mga sensors. So, ganun din naman yung mga cameras natin. Yung radar, nagsisense siya ng sarili niyang microwave signal, tapos minimeasure niya yung gaano kalakas yung bumalik at kung anong phase ng signal yung bumalik sa kanya. So, tumatagos yan sa ulap. So that's why we're using it in producing flood maps and fish ponds, fish pen ships, and other stuff. Okay, so may dalawang klase yan. Ito yung optical, yung nandito sa kaliwa, and yung radar nandun sa kanan. Right? So another one, so that's the object detection part. Another one is yung time series analysis. So yung sa time series naman, we use voice recognition. So imagine, pag sinabi mo na hello, so mababasa yun ng cellphone mo na nagdi-dictate ka na hello yun. Pero pag hello, mas mahaba, mababasa niya pa rin na hello yun. So there's a specific pattern in the word hello, yung sa mga nag-signal analysis sa inyo, di ba, na unique, na ibig sabihin yun ay hello. Okay? So, kung kaya mong maghanap ng hello doon sa signal na sinend sa'yo, then, di ba, how about applying it in satellite imagery? So, kaya yun yung ginamit namin sa time series. So, imagine, yung mga satellite kasi nag-orbit around the Earth, di ba? So, continuously nahuhulog lang sila sa Earth, pero actually, mataas sila at mabilis, kaya hindi sila diretso nahuhulog pababa. Instead, nahuhulog sila around the Earth. So, ganun yung concept ng orbit ng mga satellites natin. Ngayon, parang meron silang specific na revisit time. Ibig sabihin nun, nakakakuha sila ng picture sa isang lugar na every ganitong time. Okay? So, since umiikot sila sa labas ng mundo, halimbawa, every 12 days, nakakabalik sila sa same spot of the Earth at kumuha ng image doon. So, other satellite image, mas mabilis. Kung marami sila, mas mabilis. Okay? So, ganun yung, So, for this example, every 12 days, meron tayong image sa isang lugar. Actually, radar. So, pinagpatong-patong namin lahat ng capture dun sa isang lugar. Okay? And then, we analyze every pixel of it. So, plinat namin kung ano yung backscatter value niya. This is radar na yung dinidiscuss ko kanina. So, may mga tumataas, bumabagsak, etc. Yung backscatter, yan yung, yun yung, kung gaano ka-intense yung signal na bumalik. Okay? Kung nag-send siya ng ganitong signal, gaano kalakas yung bumalik. Okay? So, nung una, parang malakas pa, tapos bumaba, tapos lumakas ulit, etc. Ngayon, pwede natin i-plot yan per pixel. If you know kung ano yung specific signature na hinahanap mo, tulad yung nandun sa taas na maliit, pwede mong hanapin yan dyan, dun sa series niyan. And then, pag nakita mo na may match, plus konting warping, pwedeng mas konti, mas mahaba, masasabi mo na, okay, ito, nagmatch sa signature na hinahanap ko. So, this must be sugarcane, this must be a rice or corn or any seasonal crop. Ginagamit namin to for seasonal crop pala. Next. So, yung process ganun din. We let our RS people do the processing, the extraction of temporal pattern, and maghanap na ng signature matching, and then you do accuracy assessment. So, these are the possible applications. Actually, this road network is showing how an AI learns sa pag-detect ng road network. So, the more you train, so, natututo siya ng natututo. Actually, this exact method ay ginagamit ng Project DIME ng the Department of Budget and Management to monitor yung mga build infrastructure project natin. So, you cannot report to DBM now, tapos ko na itong kalsadang to. Tapos sa titingnan ng DBM yan, hindi. Sabi ng AI namin at ng aming satellite image analysis ay hindi. Okay? So since we have that, sinasabi ko kanina na almost daily na imagery, pwede mo talagang ma-monitor yung progress niyan. And given your road AI, hindi na dapat ikaw yung tumitingin yan. Yung AI na yung magsasabi sa'yo na, okay, may road dito, okay, dito wala, dito meron ulit. And also, we trained it to detect flood. Okay. So from radar images. So yung ganito kalaking flood extent, di ba? Imagine how many years will it take you to map that. Okay? Siguro pagkatapos mo ng isang bayan, drought naman na yung kasunod, so hindi mo na mahahabol lahat yan. Or if you want to do it simultaneously, you have thousands of people to do that for you. Pero using satellite imagery and AI, we can do that in 3 hours. Yung ganyan kalaki. We also tried to train it to detect damage, and somehow natuto naman siya. Another application is this one. Sorry, hindi siya nag-play, pero ito yung landslide sa Itogon. Nalaman namin kung saan yung location niya kasi we detected the built-up areas and we detected the roads, tas may nawala talaga na road. So that's why we were able to locate that. So kami na yung nagbigay ng coordinates dun sa mga naghahanap kung asan yung landslide. Of course, aside from the first responders dun sa ground. Okay, ito naman, ito yung amazing kasi yung ganito kalaking area, na-map namin yung landslide in just 2 minutes. Gamit yung land cover na pinapakita ko kanina na trained. So we just detected yung mga vegetated areas, tapos we detected yung mga bare soil na areas. Tapos kung sino yung may drastic change from vegetation to bare soil, we interpreted them as potential landslides. So you can do that in 10 minutes. This is not AI related, pero you can also do drought monitoring. Sa agricultural applications naman, ito yung seasonal crop mappings for sugarcane, rice, and corn. Ito yung dinidiscuss ko kanina na since alam namin kung ano yung temporal signature ng sugarcane, corn, and rice, so kaya natin siyang i-map. Okay, naka-false color lang siya. So, one application of that is, tingnan nyo itong sa sugarcane plantation dun sa may Hacienda Luisita. Yung boundaries na black na nakikita nyo dito sa left side, ito yung SRA map. Sugar Regulatory Administration. Actually, we have a MOA with them para sa implementation nito. Kung mapapansin nyo, merong mga sayan dyan na hindi na map. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila aware na meron palang sugarcane dito or somewhere dito. And vice versa. Merong mga nakamap pa na akala nila ay may sugarcane pa, pero yun pala ay converted na into subdivisions and such. So yun yung mga hindi cyan color na naka-box. So yeah, we can improve our inventory using these methods. But hindi namin ginagawa, yung group namin hindi namin ginagawa yun. We usually look for partners to do that for us. Okay? So we already have more with Sugar Regulatory Administration, with DA BFAR, with DA Field Planning Office, sino ba? With Philippine Statistics Authority para sa Census of Agriculture and Fisheries sa 2022. So AI-enabled na yung census natin ng Agriculture and Fisheries sa 2022. Hopefully. So, ganun yan. We also do that with fish ponds. Madali siyang i-detect actually using radar. Okay, ito yung example ng detection natin sa Laguna Lake. Ito yung sa Pangasinan. And this one, sa Bolinao din. So, kung pansinin nyo, mukhang hindi na dinigitize ng tao yan. That's AI detected na. Mga fish traps, fish ponds, and fish cages. fish pens, okay? Wala pa pala dito yung fish cages dun sa screenshot ko. And sa coconut, actually napakadali niyang i-detect kasi itong orange, yan yung pinang-train, and itong yellow, yan yung detection. Magkaibang lugar yan, and sobrang galing niya. With this training data dun sa yellow kanina, dun sa orange, napaka-konti nun eh. Ganyang kadaming data lang yung ginamit namin, and then it was able to detect yung yellow. Right? Sorry. Actually, mas magaling na yan ngayon. Mas mabilis na kasi hindi na namin dinidrawing yung coconut. Okay? We're using another architecture na binabox na lang namin kung asan yung location niya for inventory and counting. Okay? We also did that for mangoes. Okay? Pili trees, pero hindi ganun ka, hindi masyado. Mahirap siyang gawin. Hindi siya masyadong unique kapag tinitingnan from satellite imagery. Of course, land cover detection. Sa mga nag-remote sensing sa inyo, this is a land cover from Landsat extracted by AI. Of course, trinain namin yung AI na yan using yung sarili naming remote sensing processes. But after namin siyang i-train, mas maganda na yung detection niya kaysa sa amin. Okay? If I do my remote sensing process to do that, I definitely mas magaling na siya kaysa dun sa detection ko right now. So, ayan, we also have a Mo with Namria para gawin yan nationwide. Okay? Sa Planet naman, ito yung kaya niyang i-detect na klase ng land cover. From the image nandun sa left, kung nalalabuan kayo sa image na nandun sa left, that's the actual resolution. Wala nang ililinaw yan. Wala nang i-high res yan. And given yung ganyang klaseng satellite image, kaya nating i-extract yung ganyang land cover sa nandun sa kanan. Okay? So, since we have temporal data, pwede rin nating makita kung ano yung mga changes ng land cover. You can use it in planning, disaster something, yung inyong SIDRA, etc. Yung inyong CLUP. And since yung Landsat ay masyadong matagal na, since lumilipad, decades na, pwede nating i-plot temporally kung parang gaano ba kabilis mag-expand yung urban area dito sa lugar na to. For example, 3 years lang yung difference ito. 2013 versus 2016, nakita natin yung expansion ng urban. If we analyze them all, balik pa tayo through time, early 2000s, etc., then we can develop an equation para i-project kung ano yung magiging itsura ng built-up area na yan 50 years from now. Okay? But that's, pwedeng gawin yan ng mga planners natin, etc. Because we have the data set and we have the processing power dito. Okay. So, gaano kahalaga itong technology na to? I branded it na AI for EO before. Ako lang nagbago na gawing AI for mapping actually. So yung AI for EO, yung nandun sa gitna ng circle, can answer different thematic areas. For infrastructure, for DRCCA, for security and defense, for food security, monitoring, etc. Kung may mahalin pa kayo na gustong thematic area, go ahead and suggest. And bawat thematic area na yan, may mga agencies tayo na sumasakop sa mga yan. Yun yung mga nandito nakapalibot. And yung mga nandito sa labas, those are the AI models na meron right now. Hindi tayo nililimit na yan lang. We can always train something. Okay? Kung wala pa dyan, let's train the AI model. Okay? So that is what we develop. Actually, we are not developing AI models. We develop the method how to train an AI model to detect something from a satellite imagery na gusto mo. Okay? Now, yung iba dyan, may MOA na kami, and yung iba, direct recipient ng output, and yung iba ay kausap namin, and etc. Now, moving forward, we already made a software, actually. So, hindi mo na kailangan maging high-end programmer, kaya hindi mo na kailangan maging high-end mathematician, statistician, remote sensing, GIS guy, to do all those things na sinabi ko kanina. Ginawa na naming software, lahat ng computation, lahat ng bagay, lahat ng kailangan mo to train an AI model ay nandito na sa upper part. Okay? Lagay mo lang asan yung data mo, kung asan yung gusto mong, asan yung file na gusto mong i-train, lagay ka ng notes, lagay ka ng konting parameters, madali lang naman, di ba? Window size, batch size, something lang. Okay? And then you click train. Maghintay ka ng overnight, bukas, meron na. So pupunta ka naman dito sa nandun sa kanan, object detection na. So since na-train mo na siya, as i-browse mo lang kung saan nakalagay yung output model dun sa kabila, sabihin mo saan niya ilalagay yung output niya na folder, lagay ka ng konting parameters, please press detect. After 2 minutes, meron ka ng detection. Okay? So, ginawa na lahat ng paghihirap na nangyari before, lahat ng diniscuss ko kanina will be made easily using these two executable software na ito. Ganun na lang siya kasimple. The key is, kailangan mo matutunan kung paano gumawa ng tamang training data. So yun na lang yung kailangan mong alamin. If you are trained, kung alam mo na kung paano gumawa ng training data, it's madali lang. If you have a little background in GIS at konting remote sensing knowledge, okay, or kung masipag kang mag-digitize ng mangga or ng puno ng nyog, then, di ba, yung puno ng nyog, dot lang yung kailangan mo dun para makakreate ng, magpindot-pindot ka lang. Kung marunong kang mag-Counter-Strike or mag-Dota, baka mas madami pang pindot yung pagdodota kaysa sa paggawa ng training data ng trees. Okay? After that, feed mo lang siya doon, gamitin mo yung AI training to train, gamitin mo yung AI object detection to detect that for you, then you're done. So, ganun na kasimplified right now. So, why are we doing this? So, gusto namin na ipakalat ito. That's why we are training our partners, yung mga kamuha natin, yung mga academe, and etc., na gamitin itong software na to para ma-accelerate natin yung transition to AI-enabled mapping. Gusto natin yung mga pagmamapa natin, hindi na natin ubusin yung oras natin sa paglakad sa ground. Okay? Hayaan na natin yung AI to do that for us. Okay? I-validate na lang natin kung tama, and then if we are satisfied with the accuracy, then wag na nating ulitin yung ground every time na may mapping tayong activity. And gusto natin na yung mga industries natin ay gamitin na rin tong technology na to para mas mapabilis yung pag-generate ng data para din sa kapakanan nating lahat in planning and etc. Okay, di ba? For development ito, for nation building. So gusto namin na ikalat yan as much as possible. So that's it. If you have questions, pwede niyong mamaya. Ipapamigay ko naman itong presentation, and these are the contact information na pwede niyong kontakin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Roel M. De La Cruz. This time, we will hear from another speaker who is no other than Ms. Jasmine Jane M. Yabut. Ms. Yabut is an experienced embedded systems programmer with where the programming used embedded C language. She is experienced in research development, analysis, and testing for product development. At present, she is designated as SRS1 at DOST-ST. Let us give the floor to Ms. Jasmine Jane M. Yabut. Ma'am?
Hello, good morning. Mag-share lang ako. Hope you can see my screen. Good morning, everyone. I am Jasmine Jane Yabut from the Embedded Systems Group, and I will be talking about the ASTI developed stations. So we brand ASTI's network of stations as MASID because, the meteorological data acquisition stations for information dissemination. So we chose MASID because in Tagalog, it means to observe, which is yun naman yung ginagawa ng ating mga stations, ang mag-observe or gather ng weather data. So recently, nakapag-file na rin po kami ng patent para sa system na ito. So konting background lang po on how the stations were developed. Since the Philippines is a disaster-prone country due to its geographical location, many typhoons, earthquakes, and natural disaster make their way annually. So yung Philippines was ranked as 8 among the countries most exposed to multiple hazards. Ibig sabihin, mataas ang risk sa ating safety at masira ang ating mga properties due to natural calamities. So according to Pag-asa, which is our National Weather Bureau, average of 20 typhoons ang pumapasok sa Philippine Area of Responsibility every year. And most ng strong typhoons ay nagdudulot ng malalakas na pag-ulan at pagbaha. So noong 2009, dumating si Typhoon Ondoy, at naitala siya bilang 4th worst natural disaster dito sa Pilipinas in terms of number of people affected, at nalagay yung 30% ng bansa sa under state of calamity due to severe flooding. So, nung bagyong Ondoy, yung katumbas ng pang isang buwan na pag-ulan ay naibuwas lang sa loob ng 6 na oras. Nagresulta siya sa 464 na namatay na mga tao, 529 injured at 37 missing. So dahil sa pinsalang dulot ni Ondoy, nagkaroon ng initiative ang government na mag-establish ng mga program at proyekto pagdating sa weather and climate solutions. And since meron ng mga existing prototype si ASTI na mga weather stations, nakitaan niya ng potential for nationwide implementation. So ang ASTI ang naatasan para sa development at nationwide deployment ng mga meteorological devices for disaster mitigation and preparedness. So over the years, nagkaroon ng iba't ibang development ng ating mga weather stations until noong 2011 nakapag-develop at design ang ating mga engineers sa ASTI ng data logger which is commonly known as the ARQ or the Advanced Remote Data Acquisition Unit. So ito ay ginagamit natin hanggang sa mga kasalukuyang automated weather stations. Ang main function ng ARQ ay pagkuha ng data sa mga sensor sa ating mga stations. And then, sinesend niya din yung data sa server through GSM or SMS, or kung wala namang cellular signal ay through satellite. So, meron siyang dalawang LiPo batteries, low power microcontroller, at pwede siyang ma-customize according sa needs ng mga gagamit. So, introduce ko na po yung iba't ibang types ng ating mga stations. So, first, yung Automated Rain Gauge Station or ARG for short. Itong station po na ito ay madalas makikita natin sa mga upland areas o matataas na lugar. So, yung station na po ito ay nagagather siya ng amount of rainfall. So, masusukat niya kung malakas ba yung ulan sa isang area. Yung components niya, meron siyang rain gauge sensor, controller box, which contains the ARQ and batteries. Meron siyang solar panel for power and charging, kasi stand-alone siya, usually deployed sa mga remote locations. And then meron siyang satellite antenna for backup sending kasi yung primary mode naman natin ng sending ay SMS. So kung wala lang talagang cellular signal. So next na station po natin ay yung Automated Water Level Monitoring Station or commonly known as the WLMS. Usually pwede siyang i-partner dun sa ARG kasi itong station naman po ito ay usually nilalagay sa bridges. So, ito ay ginagamit para masukat ang water level na nakakuha natin gamit yung ultrasonic sensor. After po makuha yung data from the sensor, isasend niya yung data sa server gamit yung through SMS. Usually, ang interval ng sending para sa ARG tsaka dito sa WLMS ay 10 minutes. Pero pwede pa rin naman pong baguhin yan. So, for this station, same lang po sa ARG, meron din siyang controller box na nandun yung ARQ and batteries, solar panel for power and charging, and satellite antenna. And then yung next station naman po natin ay combination lang nung dalawa, yung ARG at WLMS, which we call the tandem station or the Automated Water Level Monitoring Station with Rain Gauge. Dito po sa station na to, dalawa ang makukuha natin na weather data which is yung rainfall and water level. So, meron din siyang solar panel, controller box, nandun yung ARQ and batteries at satellite antenna. Next po ay yung Automated Weather Station or AWS. Dito naman po, meron siyang multi-parameter sensor na ginagamit para makuha yung mga weather parameters like temperature, humidity, pressure, tsaka wind speed, tsaka marami pa pong iba. Meron din siyang rain gauge sensor na nagsusukat po ng lakas ng ulan. Meron din siyang controller box kung saan nakalagay yung ARQ and batteries. At since yun nga, meron siyang batteries and deploy siya remotely, nilagyan siya ng solar panel for charging at for charging. So, lahat ng components na ito ay nakalagay sa pole mast. So, next naman po is the Agrometeorological Station or AgroMet. Ito naman po ay usually ginagamit for agricultural applications. For this type of weather station, meron din siyang multi-parameter sensor, rain gauge, at in addition po sa mga sensors, meron siyang soil sensors at sunshine duration sensor. Meron din po siyang instrument housing na nandun po yung ating ARQ at nakalagay din yung components niya sa pole mast. So for the next stations naman po, ang application nito ay for warning or for alerting the community. First po ay yung disaster early warning system or yung flood alerting station. So itong station po ay ginagamit in connection with the hydromet stations, yung mga ARG water level tandem, mga ganong stations natin, which powered din siya by solar and meron siyang beacon for signal light kung saan nanggagaling yung sound and for warning as well. Then meron siyang tatlong sirens, controller box, na nandun yung ARQ and batteries, and all the components are placed in a pole mast. Usually, yung station naman po na ito ay ginagamit para ma-notify ang residents sa flood-prone areas kung kailangan na nilang lumikas. So, dalawa po yung triggering modes ng station, which is the web trigger and manual override. Mga authorized personnel lang po ang pwede mag-trigger ng mga stations for security reasons. So, itong station po na ito, meron siyang 4 na alarm level or warning level. Ito po ay base sa hydrologic survey na ginawa ni Pag-asa. Ito-trigger po ang siren sa alert level kapag 40% na ang river capacity, 60% naman po kapag alarm level, and then critical naman 80%. And recession level kapag less than 39% pa ang river capacity or receding na ang level ng tubig. So, yung iba't ibang levels po na ito ay may iba't iba rin na messages para sa paglikas. So, next station po natin ay yung Tsunami Early Warning Station or TUS Alerting Station. So, as the name suggests po, para naman siya sa pag-notify sa or pag-warning sa residents sa coastal areas kung merong tsunami. Ang technology naman po na ito ay in partnership with PVOX. Ang components niya parehas lang din dun sa previous na station, yung beacon, yung sirens, tatlo, controller box, solar panel for power. And then for this type of station, wala po siyang different alarm levels, bale, isa lang po yung sound ng sirens niya. Meron din po tayong dalawang triggering modes, which is the web trigger and manual override para sa station na ito. So, yun na po yung mga stations natin. So, paano po ba natin makikita yung mga data galing doon sa mga stations natin? So, bali ito po yung system diagram niya. Una, kukuha muna ang ating data logger ng data from the sensors at a specific time interval, say 10 minutes po. So, every 10 minutes, meron po tayong data na ipapadala ng station through SMS or kung walang cellular signal, satellite backup kung sa ating mga servers. Pagdating naman po ng data sa servers, dito siya ipaprocess and backup. After backup and processing, pwede na po natin ma-view online sa website visualization ng ating mga data from the stations. Yung ibang users naman po, pwede silang mag-request ng API access para makapag-create sila ng customized visualization. Ito po yung website kung saan pwede natin ma-view ang data ng mga stations. So, punta lang po kayo sa geosensors.asti.gov.ph. So, dyan po makikita natin yung lahat ng mga deployed na stations all over the country. So, halimbawa po ito, pag nag-click po kayo ng station, for example, sa Rigao del Norte, may magpa-pop up po na last 24 hours data ng station. So, para lang po makita natin yung pwede natin magawa sa data ng rain gauge, halimbawa at water level. Ito po yung magpe-present lang ako ng simple analysis. So, mayroon po tayo dito dalawang magkaibang locations. If ma-observe po natin, consistent ang behavior ng dalawang river system. Makikita po natin dyan yung considerable lag time between sa pag-peak ng rainfall at sa pagtaas ng ating water level. So, pag alam po natin yung behavior ng ating mga river system, magkakaroon po tayo ng better decision making and preparation in times of extreme weather events. And then, ito lamang po ay ilan sa mga pictures to show yung maintenance and troubleshooting ng ating mga stations. And then, aside from this, nagsasagawa din po kami ng Information Education and Communication Campaign or IEC. So, para po ma-educate ang community doon sa technology. So, dito po meron siyang presentation from experts, training and workshop, and open forum session. So after po ng presentations, the next day, nagsasagawa naman po ng flood drill para makita po yung integration ng alerting station natin sa existing evacuation protocols ng community. So hindi niya po nire-replace yung mga warning stations natin. Hindi nila nire-replace yung protocols ng evacuation, kundi parang dagdag lang po siya, pina-complement lang. So that ends my presentation. For other concerns and inquiries, you may reach us through these contact details. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jasmine Jane Amiabut. The next speaker is Ms. Camille L. Larios. In her 8 years of experience in project management, she has helped DOST and other government institutions become more effective and efficient in their administrative processes through the software development projects that her team implements. She puts premium in participatory approach in project development and implementation to ensure success and project continuity and sustainability. At present, she is a project manager at DOST-ASTI. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hear from our last speaker for this morning. Oh, I'm sorry, not the last speaker. For the speaker for this morning, Ms. Camille L. Larios. Ma'am.
Thank you, Sir Julius, for the introduction. Clear po ba yung audio ko? So
Yes, ma'am, clear po.
Okay, thank you. I will just share my presentation. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Thank you to all our viewers who are joining us this morning via Google Meet, YouTube, and OneExpert. And also to the organizers of this event from the DOST Region 6 for this opportunity to share about our work. Again, I am Camille, and I will be sharing with you about the ERP solutions that we have in ASTI and some opportunities where you can partner with us. So feel free po to send your questions in the chat box, and I will try to answer them later sa forum. So I want to start with our why. So why we do what we do. So the reality in the government is that only 2.3% of its electronic services are for internal use. What this means is that about 98% of electronic services are for external clients. So siguro ito yung mga public and external organizations that the government provides service to. So with this figure, we can say that practically in terms of internal processes, the government is still manual. So yung focus po ng gobyerno is yung external clients. So zooming in to the DOST context, so we conducted a survey in the last quarter, in the fourth quarter last year, and what we saw actually mirrors yung numbers ng DICT. So at least for the 31 agencies, DOST agencies that responded to our survey, 9 of them said that they do not have an HRIS. And for those that do have systems in place, only 58% of them have 4 modules or less, which are PASLIP, LEAVE, DDR. And so for those who may not know PASLIPs, these are, I think meron tayong guests from the private. So yung PASLIPs po are requests to go out of the office for official business, in contrast to the leaves which are filed for vacation and personal reasons. So we can say that having these 3 modules is not really having an HR system. Would you agree po? No, so these are just attendance modules. When we talk about an HR system, it covers recruitment and selection, learning and development, performance management, and rewards and recognition. So yung nabanggit ko po na yun po yung 4 pillars of HR management according to CSC, Civil Service Commission. So what do these numbers imply? You said the ICT and said the OST. So this means that first, yung administrative personnel are highly focused on clerical tasks instead of the more value-adding functions like coaching, mentoring, learning and development activities. So basically, activities focused on employee development. Medyo napag-iiwanan po. And so second, organizational process are not streamlined and are manual. And so yung result po nung first, no, yung manual and not streamlined, nag-aalat tayo ng more resources, mas maraming tao to perform these manual activities. The new third, available systems are in silos and monolithic. So yung mga available systems, although yung iba meron, they're created just for their own, for their use, internal use, and designed siya not to really talk with other systems. So which leads me to the fourth point, systems are not integration ready. And the new fifth, there could be issue on transparency, human error, and document loss. So that's where your ST comes in, so fits in the story. It's where we fit in the story. So we help government offices improve their productivity and efficiency through the enterprise resource planning systems that we develop. So right now we have 3 systems. So you will see more about each system later now as we go on in the presentation. So as early as 2000, we've already been using an in-house developed information system. So it has been improved through the years, and it was in 2015 that we launched the version that ASTI is using now. So it has many modules from personal records, document tracking, asset management, and procurement. So by the way, I am from the Management Information System unit of that agency, and really our mandate is to provide internal support to the institute. So that's why we've been developing this internal solutions. However, ayun po, nakikita ng ibang government agencies yung solutions that we have, and they've been coming to us to also have the systems that we're using. So although this version, the ERP system that we have right now, it's not really designed to accommodate multiple agencies. So in the past, kapag meron pong interested na agency interested in sa system namin, what we were doing is we create an instance for these agencies. So bawat isa merong instance no ERP namin. And we also have to provide support for each system, which could be demanding in terms of resources. So since there's a need and a demand for this kind of solution, in 2017, we started to develop or engineer this ERP into a version that is intended for the whole of the government. So one instance only, and so yung support or yung minamaintain namin would be just one system. And so we started that with the procurement system. And in 2020, so yung plan po namin, no, yung mga modules that we have in the ERP solution, all the modules here will be re-engineered for the government, for the whole of the government yung use niya, yung benefit. So we started with the procurement system, with the new version of the procurement system, and in 2020, this year we started with the HRIS. And so, these are just a couple of screenshots dun sa bawat system, dun sa tatlong system na nabanggit ko kanina. So this one, the ERP system, ito yung ginagamit namin ngayon. So this is how it looks like when you log in. And so mayroong announcements of the events, mga documents posted, even the birthdays. And so sa amin po, hindi secret yung mga birthday. So alam namin kung sinong manlilibre. Ayan, so kidding aside, so these are the modules. Yeah, so that the ERP system has, so yung personal records, knowledge assets, reservation, procurement, inventory, repair and maintenance, actually kamag-anak siya ng inventory. And then some configurations and FAQs. So yung personal records, this is the basically where HR manages the employee records. So nandito yung past leave and signing of daily time record. Knowledge assets, dito po yung document posting and tracking. Reservation of assets like vehicle, room, and equipment. And then procurement, mga procurement generators like abstract of bids and canvas, RFQs, purchase requests, etc. And then, yes, inventory of equipment and supplies. And so I would have to mention po no, that I would just like to emphasize that in the past 6 months na ng lockdown, or that we are in quarantine, most of our staff are in a work from home scheme. And this system has been really extremely useful for us. So we're able to sign our DTRs, the comfort of our homes, and yung procurement po namin is not hampered. And also yung transportation reservation module namin was very much used, especially by the skeleton workforce na kailangan pa rin pumunta sa office. And so some screenshots, so ito yung application ng leave. Kapag mayroon kang sick leave, special leave, and vacation leave, magre-reflect siya dito. So when you're applying, alam mo kung ilan pa yung credits na available sa'yo. So this is the real-time record, the interface. So naka-capture na niya even yung mga holidays, suspensions, when you are on leave, and meron kong approved leave, past leave, and you're on training, meron kong special order or travel order, magre-reflect na po siya dito. So considered siya dun sa computation ng DTR. So this is ATPS. So we the system could already generate yung most updated version of the PDS ni CSC. This is a purchase request, RFQ, and reservation of vehicle. So the next would be the ERP procurement system. So as mentioned earlier, this is something that we started in 2017 and was completed last year. So this is how it looks like. So the ERP procurement system has these modules, item catalog, PAP item. So basically what this system has is yung ERP system po kanina, generation of document, and it's just it starts with the purchase request hanggang sa abstract. This time, when we engineered the procurement module, no, so this is actually entire system. We started now with the planning. So yung PPMP, APP generators, andito na. So the end-to-end process of procurement system is captured in this version. And so we also, kung familiar po kayo dun sa interface, medyo kahawig na siya nung mga online shopping platform na meron tayo ngayon. Ayan, so we maintain a database of all the items, equipment, and supplies na commonly bought by agencies. So madali nang mag-search dito. Nandito na rin yung mga basic specifications. So we just have to parang select kung ano yung bibilhin for example, the fiscal year 2021. And then kung meron lang kailangang mga specific na details na pwedeng update or ilagay on top of the general specifications, ilalagay na lang po yun. So this system pwede nang mag-generate ng PPMPs, yung consolidated na items na bibilhin ng agency, and yung also the APP. Yeah, so some screenshots. And so this slide you will see dun sa screenshot. Ito yung mga some of the documents na pwedeng ma-generate in the system. So abstract of bids and canvas, finalization form, post-eval, notice of award, and PO. Okay, so yung HRIS naman that we started this year, so we started with the phase 1, which is on the first pillar of HRM, yung recruitment and selection. So that's what we're completing, target complete this year. So dito sa system na to, we can already identify kung ano yung mga plantilla na available sa agency, and pwedeng mag-request din yung mga DCs or yung mga superior bosses natin sa agency ng mga positions, plantilla positions. And this is also able to announce vacancies. So meron pong connected here is a public facing na system that kapag nag-identify po dito ng mga vacancies, na-reflect siya dun sa public facing na system kung saan pwede nang mag-accomplish ng PDS din yung mga interested applicants and mag-upload ng mga necessary documents. I think yan. So this is the public-facing application system that we also developed. So partner siya ng HRIS. So basically, we reflect here kung ano yung mga vacancies ng agency, and then pwedeng mag-apply doon yung mga interested applicants. So pwede silang mag-fill up na rin din ng PDS and submit mga other necessary documents. So what are the advantages of applications that we have? So increased productivity, of course, faster transactions, paperless. And so yung nabanggit ko po kanina, yung DTR, we already signed our DTR online. So yeah, mobile responsive. So kahit ano pong device ang gamitin nyo, pwedeng hindi nasisira yung interface niya. So pwedeng sa phone, tablet, and then of course web-based and flexible yung workflow niya. So meaning, I understand baka sa region, iba pa yung approval, yung workflow ng approval, possibly iba sa RDI, ganyan. So with a flexible workflow that the systems, yung tatlong systems that we have, we don't need to change the code sa code level na medyo baka mas madugo pa or mas mahirap. But this one with a flexible workflow, sa user interface, we can just identify sino yung approver, ano yung role niya. So mas mabilis. And also API-based. So this addresses the concern on integration. So this can be easily integrated with other systems, such that kapag we want to generate, for example, a report on different agencies, for example, the OST agencies, kung readily integratable yung mga systems na yun, madaling makapag-generate ng mga ganong reports. Digital signing, data analytics and visualization, and subscribes to SaaS delivery. So software as a service. So ito yung dalawang systems na nabanggit natin kanina, si procurement and si HRIS. Okay, so basically parang isang instance na lang, we just give you an access to the system, and yun lang yung need. You can already use the system. You don't need to maintain your own, and you don't need to buy your own resources like machines. Portable data. So what this means is that, for example, I am right now in the OST-AST and I plan to move, for example, sa CSE. Yung data ko is portable in a way na I don't have to recreate everything or to submit yung mga records ko, because another government agency, for example, yung nilipatan ko can already see my records, no, granted yung permission. And also cost-effective, especially yung dalawang systems na software as a service na yung yung platform. Because yun nga, each agency na gumagamit, hindi na kailangang bumili ng sarili nilang resources or allot an IT personnel to maintain the system. Okay, so, how are we different from other solutions? Na siguro you already know na ang daming similar solutions outside, but what we always see is because we are from the government, we understand the problem. So we know the pain points of the government agencies, and that's what we address. We have in mind when we are developing the system. So these are just some of the clients that we have now already using CERP, the National Security Council, Department of Energy, FIVOX, and the ICT. Okay, so having said all this, where do you come into the picture? So how can you help us? We're actually looking for, well, client. Gusto namin mapakinabangan din ito ng um, ibang agencies, government agencies. And yes, so what we can offer is support and maintenance of the system and customization of the system if meron pa kayong kailangang i-add the features or may kailangan kayong improvement in the system. And then change management, so we can conduct trainings, data migration activities. So if you have say mga spreadsheet na database of your records data, we can help you in that aspect to migrate. And then there are agencies that we have already partnered in the past, NSC, DOE, FIVOX, and the ICT. So also we're looking for licensee to help on the following areas. And so support and maintenance of the system. So basically attending to inquiries, reports on issues encountered in the system, fixing of bugs, and then developments or enhancements includes improvements in the code. So we can discuss to the extent that you can modify the code. And then sales and marketing, branding of the system, actively seeking clients. We also need help on that. And then infrastructure, provision of hardware and software, and then change management. So onboarding of clients includes conduct of trainings, data population, data migration, etc. So yeah, so basically we are actively seeking clients or other government agencies that can also benefit from these solutions. At the same time, we're also looking for a partner that can help us on these areas. But in the absence of that licensee, we can also discuss how can we help you. Kasi in ASTI right now, we are also maintaining then yung systems that we have. So I think that ends my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Larios. And our last, but definitely not the least speaker for today is no other than Ms. Maria Irene S. Amatorio to discuss the technology transfer and commercialization procedure of DOST. Our speaker is a senior science research specialist of the DOST and currently serving as the team leader or head of the Technology Licensing Office. She is a graduate of Bachelor of Science and Development Communication from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and studied law units at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Apart from this, she is also a fellow of the Korean International Cooperation Agency under the training course Intellectual Property Rights for ASEAN countries. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Maria Irene Amatorio.
Hello, good morning. Is my voice loud and clear? Hello. Okay
Hello, ma'am.
lang? Malinaw po.
Yes po.
Okay. So, this is just good morning to all of you. Thank you for this opportunity, DOST Region 6, and particularly the PSTC who is in charge of this program. Okay, so this will just be a short presentation of how technology transfer and commercialization takes place in DOST ASTI. Next slide, please. Please. Okay, so the Technology Licensing Office is a unit in DOST ASTI, which is in charge of protecting the intellectual property assets of the agency, as well as managing the technology transfer by means of public good, government extension, or commercialization. Okay, so this is a brochure, and I know the text is too small, but we can give you a PDF copy of our information material for further reference. Okay, next slide, please. Here are some of our activities. Number one, intellectual property protection. And we also coordinate end user license agreements, research agreements, collaborative research agreements, as well as memorandum of agreements wherein the subject technology is being promoted to be adopted by either government or private institutions. And we also do technology transfer activities focusing on public good, extension service, and licensing. Apart from that, we also lead the business negotiations, meetings with stakeholders, and other similar activities and engagements. Next slide, please. So just to have a brief background about the process of technology transfer in ASTI, of course, it starts with a research idea, and then we will try to come in and protect the research idea if it's already possible. And then we enter into a research agreement or a memorandum of agreement or a non-disclosure agreement or any types of agreement which will further assist the researchers and protect the IP assets of DOST ASTI. And then there goes the research and development, and upon which we again conduct another IP protection process if there are more intellectual properties involved as a result of the R&D. And we will draft the end user license for the end users, software licensing agreements, or other agreements in order to distribute the outputs of the technologies. So all throughout, you would see that intellectual property is the most valued asset of our research and development products or outputs. Next slide, please. Here are some of our activities. So this one was conducted in Bohol in 2018. So the PSTC there organized a stakeholders meeting with DOST ASTI. So at the lower part, the picture on the lower right is the team who managed the event. You would see their attorney Ras, our technology transfer lawyer from DOST TAPI. Next slide, please. If we would be asked who are our primary customers or the primary sectors that we serve, Of course, we serve the government agencies, local government units, government-owned and controlled corporations, as well as the academy. Next slide, please. Okay, so due to this, we share by means of or by reason of public good, and as of the moment, these types of data are available. Number one, weather data from MASID, raw satellite images, derived geospatial data from AI for mapping. In order to access or request for certain data related to this, you have to write a letter of request addressed to the head of ASTI, submit a copy of government-issued ID, and accomplish and sign the end-user license agreement issued by ASTI TLO. Next slide, please. Okay, for those who are interested to try Gulay, right now it was discussed that it's still on testing phase, but just in case you want to be among the first end users of the said technology, as early as now, you may, of course, submit a letter addressed to the head of the agency, accomplish a survey form for target users. This will be provided by TLO. Provide a point person for coordination, MOA between, and then we can prepare a MOA between ASTI and the academic institution later on. So ngayon po, we are accepting potential users. If you want to try or to test it, we can do this ahead of time. Next slide, please. And of course, we also serve the private sector. So how do we do this? Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. Of course, we do this through the commercialization process. And by means of a commercialization process, we look for private institutions who are willing to adopt the technologies through the FOB process. So here are the summary of terms of some of the technologies that were discussed earlier. The first one is the ERP, which was discussed by Ms. Larios, and the upfront fees for this, if you are the first one who will adopt this, is waived. For the royalty payments, it will be 7.5% of the gross sales, and this will be paid every year. For the minimum revenue, we can negotiate and discuss the details through a private meeting with the TLO and or the researchers. For AI for mapping, the same terms apply. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are focusing our marketing in four MASID technologies. We are hoping to get licensees for the four stations. The first one is the tsunami alerting station. The upfront fee is 63,000, and this shall be paid upon signing the technology licensing agreement. The royalty payments for this is 5% of the gross sales, and this shall be paid annually. And for the minimum revenue, we have 126,000, which shall be paid on the end of each year. So for disaster early warning system, the upfront is 139,000 upon signing the TLA. 5% is the royalty, and the minimum revenue per year is 139 to be paid at the end of each year. Please take note that the upfront fees are creditable as minimum revenue for the first year, and the minimum revenue is creditable to annual sales or the royalty payments. So mukha siyang malaki, pero actually it's like more of an advance payment rather than additional payments. Okay, so if you need details, we can discuss that through private meetings. Next slide, please. And we also have the automated weather station. It has the same terms in terms of upfront fees. Oh, I'm sorry, the upfront fees, we don't have any upfront fees for this, but you should be able to pay within 60 days upon signing a project contract or a client contract. So the royalty payments is 5% of the gross sales to be paid per year, and every year you have to have 250,000 pesos minimum revenue. So ibig sabihin po nito, since we don't have a licensee yet for AWS, gumagawa kami ng special offer para po sa mga gustong mag-adapt ng technology na to. And then for Agromet, it's also the same, waived upon signing of TLA, yung upfront fees. The gross sales, the royalties payments is 5%, and the minimum revenue per year is 300,000. Next slide, please. So additional members for Masid, the license to sell and maintain the stations is for 3 years, and this is renewable. Field of use is meteorological data, territories, Philippines. And for tsunami early warning system, we had some meetings with FIVOX, and they are very supportive to the introduction of tsunami early warning to other government institutions and organizations who are interested. But they want to have a partnership with the licensee who will produce it, because they will have several activities that would help the local government units in promoting the technology. Next slide, please. So here are some of the benefits of the licensee. It's an end-to-end solution. You can, of course, use the field sensor as of the moment in order to see the data that you have gathered in your own weather station. The licensee may also opt to package the stations with their own servers. So if you want to put up your own DRRM headquarters, you can use the stations, no? And you can also maintain the 2,211 stations that are already deployed nationwide. So ito po, yung pag-maintain, of course, you have to negotiate with the owners and or enter into a contract with Pag-asa. So ito po, tinitignan namin as potential additional revenue. So ang revenue po is not only on selling the stations but also on maintaining. And of course, you get free consultation services in the first year. Next slide, please. So if you have questions on, these are the licensing requirements. I know you need the documents in detail. We can send you the list for your review. So next slide. If you have questions on licensing or on the end user license agreements for public good purposes, you can send us an email or set an appointment with the TLO and researchers for a virtual meeting. Here is our email address. Next slide. tlo@asti.dost.gov.ph. Next slide po. Okay, next slide. Ayan. Thank you po, and looking forward to a fruitful collaboration. Okay. That's all. My presentation ends here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the information of everyone, nag-post po kami doon sa may Google Meet chat ng link if ever na merong interested to avail of the technologies presented by the DOST ASTI. And for now, we will use the remaining time for the open forum session. We would like to request the participants to briefly introduce themselves, their office or firm, then state their question and to whom you address the question. We will now be entertaining questions from our participants here in Google Meet and One Expert portal. So we have question from Sir Abraham Fabila. Use of drones is extremely popular nowadays. How does this technology compare or complement with it for AI for mapping?
Hello, sir. Good morning. Wala akong nakikita na issue when using drone images. You can always use the presented technology in training images. We haven't tested it yet exactly with drones because we don't have access to a library of drone images, but we would love to do that actually. So yeah, you can apply it to any imagery. Actually, yung ginagamit naman namin ng mga AI architectures are actually trained with our normal images, mga oblique images, ground images, etc. We just converted them to ingest satellite images with multispectral characteristics, etc. Tapos niretrain namin sila for satellite imagery. Those architectures are very good already with other types of images. So since drones are actually lumilipad din and they're nadir looking, nakatingin din sa baba. So yeah, we can use that. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have another question from One Expert chat from Sir Andrew Burao. He is from Iloilo City. Are those systems downloadable?
Ano po kayang specific system ito, sir? Is this for the AI for mapping or for the other?
Lahat po, sir, yung nire-refer ni sir.
Yung sa amin, no, it's not dun sa AI for mapping, it's not downloadable. So, ayun po.
How about po yung ibang systems?
Hello, this is Camille.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the ERP solutions, hindi rin po downloadable yung sa amin. So if you're interested po on our systems, we have to either give you an access if yung procurement and HR system. But if it's the ERP system na yung kinakwento ko kanina na hindi pa re-engineered, that needs to be installed on machines on your machines na para maging accessible sa inyo. Pero yung procurement and yung HR system, it can also be just access lang po. We just need to provide access para magamit.
Okay po. Anyone po who would like to add from
Morning
USS?
po.
Yes, sir.
For Kuha po, maging available po itong application po natin sa Google Play this year po. Sa ngayon po, ongoing pa din po yung development po nito. And Android platform pa lang po ito available. Yes po, downloadable po siya pero soon magiging available po.
I see. So, meron na pong sa Android.
Hindi sir, magiging available po siya this year po.
Okay, this year. So, aabangan po natin yan.
Po.
Okay, next po, we have a question from Ms. Novi Factuar. She's from the US Region 6. It was mentioned earlier that certain satellite images can be accessible to the public. How can we access this po?
I will answer that question. You can send an email to to ASTI at info@asti.dost.gov.ph, or you can also send the Pedro team an email. So, yun na lang po. And then you have to sign the end user license agreement and to submit a government issued ID.
May follow-up question po. Meron po daw restrictions yan.
Yung end user license agreement, of course, ang makakakuha kayo ng data from ASTI if it will be used for public good purposes. So, ibig sabihin, hindi nyo pwedeng ibenta yan. Pwede nyo gamitin sa research, pwede for public good. Basta hindi nyo, kasi medyo mahal po yung, mahal yung mga data natin. If you would make evaluation of those data and compare it to the commercially available data in the market, masyadong mahal. So, these ones we are reserving for public goods or public good or research purposes only. Nobody can sell the data or the derivatives of the data.
Okay, thank you po ma'am. So emphasize ko lang, all they need to do is to write a letter po sa DOS ASTI and indicating their intent po.
Yes, sir. Yun po.
Hello, good morning po. This is Kathleen po from DOST Region 6. I would like to ask po, pag meron pong mga LGUs na gustong mag-adapt ng, for example, yung AI for mapping and yung ERP, nagkakandak po ba kayo ng online trainings for their staff? Or kailangan pumunta kayo sa lugar ng LGU kung saan man yung location nila to conduct the training? And also po, ano-ano po kayo yung mga kailangan nila na equipment or investment po in terms of equipment? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kathleen. I would answer that question. Just to clarify, when you say adoption, it means you want to license the technology. This is defined in the Technology Transfer Act of the Philippines. So if you mean you want to be an end user, ibig sabihin, gusto mo po siyang gamitin sa operations mo as an LGU or an academic institution, then you are an end user. Okay? So, for end users, for example, you want to use the ERP, you can write a letter to, may binigay ba si Miss Camille na information, I think, na email sa MIS or sa TLO. Pwede po kayong sumulat through email lang po. No need to send it via courier yung mga communication ninyo. Mag-send po kayo and then let's see if we can test or we can run the system in your institution. And then of course, hindi naman po lahat ay libre. Meron pa rin po kaming admin cost or yung trial cost. Pero hindi siya kasing mahal talaga nung commercially available na, no? So, just send us a letter. Then, let's see how we will implement or we will run the system in your office.
Opo. Bali yung question ko po is for LGUs po na end user. So, in case po na gusto nilang mag-adapt ng technology, so mag-write sila ng letter. Yung question ko po is, di po ba kailangang i-train yung staff nila on how to use the systems? So, do you conduct online, for example, online training, or kailangan ba pumunta yung staff ng ASTI to the location ng LGU? And then, may mga, so you already mentioned na may mga admin cost po na involve, So, in terms of equipment po, for example, for AI, for mapping, ano ba yung mga equipment na kailangan nila na kailangan nilang i-acquire to adopt the AI for mapping?
Okay. Sige, Miss Kate, ano na lang, pagka yung LGU ay interested maging adapter or investor at gusto niyang magbenta ng products nung AI for mapping, just send us a letter, no? So we can discuss the terms and provisions of the technology licensing agreement.
Not to sell po, but to use the system.
As an end user. Not
Oo, as an end
Opo.
user po.
Apo,
Yung
apo.
LGUs po.
Opo.
Yun po
So
yung
right
question
now
ko.
right now medyo swerte pa yung mga LGUs, no? Kasi yung ready-made data ay for free pa po. Pero eventually, they have to buy it. Ano? We don't know when, but right now, pwede nila samantalahin yung team ng Datos nila, Sir Roel, at pwede silang sumulat sa Datos team to ask for the maps and kung pwede ba silang turuan kung ano ba yung system.
Yes po, thank you po.
Okay.
Magdadagdag lang po ako tungkol doon sa AI for mapping. Pasulatin nyo na lang po yung yung mayor or head of the planning office addressed to the officer in charge ng DOST requesting for specific data sets doon sa ganitong lugar. Actually, satellite images in raw form are free. So, pwede kayo mag-request ng very high resolution image ng munisipyo ninyo. Libreng-libre po 'yon. And if you need some kind of processing, pwede nyo nang isama. If our team can handle it, we can generate them for you. Basic land cover and such. So everything is free for government use po sa ngayon.
Opo, thank you po. Kasi po, mostly po sa attendees po natin ngayon are from LGUs po. Thank you.
We have another question po from Sir Ryan Vilmore Dumpit. For Engineer Roel, may AI trainer na po ba to detect red tide?
Ngayon wala po. Ganito po kasi 'yon. Yung if you look at the satellite imagery, for example, at kaya mong ma-determine na may red tide doon, then theoretically you can teach an AI to do it for you. Pero pag tiningnan mo yung satellite image at hindi mo makita yung gusto mong makita, then mahihirapan din yung AI kasi paano mo siya tuturuan na matutunan niya yung isang bagay if you yourself cannot see it. So, yun po yung principle na nag-govern nitong detection natin from imagery. Again, kung tinignan mo yung satellite image, nakita mo yung object na gusto mong makita, beyond reasonable doubt, then kaya mong ituro sa AI yon. Kung tinignan mo yung satellite image at hindi mo kayang i-determine yung gusto mong makita, then hindi mo magagawan ng paraan na turuan siya. So, ganun po. Red tide right now wala. I don't know how red tide is being detected from satellite imagery. Siguro at the remote sensing processes, etc. Kung may expertise po kayo on how to delineate red tide areas using remote sensing, then maybe we can use that output to train an AI to detect it for you, yung onslaught ng red tide. So, ayun po. Anyway, we only created the tool, the workflow, and everything para mapadali yung mga ganong processes. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you po, sir. We have another question from Ma'am Maria Sol Casuncad. She's from Aklan, Western Visayas. Are those technologies for free and how can we avail all of this? Actually, these were already discussed by Ma'am Irene. Ma'am, no? And then I think the DOST is also willing to give the presentation. Tama po ba, Ma'am Irene?
Sorry. Akala ko. Yes, we can give you PDF copies of the presentation.
Okay, thank you po. Unless po meron pang question from our audience dito po sa Google Meet.
Sir, if I may, I would like to share my screen. May ipapakita lang ako if most of our representatives are LGUs. Actually, meron tayong portal, asti.dosti.gov.ph. You can merong menu dito sa baba wherein you can sign up. Bibigyan kayo ng access kapag nagbigay kayo ng proof that you really are from an LGU. Libre po ito. Kapag nagkaroon na po kayo ng access, for example, you can just log in into this site. Nakalimutan ko kung anong password ko. Ayan. You can just log in into this site and then makikita nyo na kung ano yung mga available na images. So, for example, gusto kong pumunta sa Bacolod or so. So, gusto ko ng satellite image. So, I'll just create a box like that and then click apply and mag-query na yan. So, ito lahat yung mga satellite image na available dyan sa lugar na yan for free. You don't have to spend millions of pesos for these satellite imageries. And then you can download them. So, ganun po kadali mag-request ng satellite image right now. Okay? All you have to do is have an access to this portal. Okay? asti.gov.ph/pedro. Okay? So, lahat po ng government agencies, libre po kayong mga ka-download dyan. Actually, kung hindi nag-access dyan yung gusto nyo na imagery, pwede rin kayong mag-request. Okay? New task order. Halimbawa, gusto ko pong magpatas ng bago dito sa ganitong lugar. Kung ano, and then, sasabihin nila kayo na, okay, tingnan namin kung may remaining pa tayo na images and kung kailan dadaan yung imagery na yan. Kung hindi naman pwede yung gusto nyong resolution, they can offer alternatives. It's free. Again, ulitin ko lang, it's free. Okay? So, I hope you got that. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ruel. I think that's the last question for today. We apologize if some of your questions cannot be accommodated due to time constraints. Anyway, you may reach us through our official social media accounts in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's at UST Region 6 and at OneExpertPH. If you're interested to know more about the topics discussed or for any of your concerns. Posted on the screen is also the link to the evaluation form. We hope that all of you, the participants, can take time to send us feedback before leaving the webinar. We greatly appreciate it. So that ends our webinar for today. Being resilient is to see opportunity in times of adversity. Keep safe, everyone. And again, Madam Ugid nga salamat.
Salamat. Thank you.
Thank you din, sir. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Julius. Thank you, Novi. Thank you, JC.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you very much, DOSTST.
Thank you, Ma'am Sensors.